This mathcast is about constructing a square with a variable slider for a side. I'm Linda Fahlberg-Stojanovska. Our website is at math247.pbworks.com, and this mathcast is made exclusively with the freeware GeoGebra, which you can download at geogebra.org. Let's get started. Now we know from working with GeoGebra that a equal to 4 is actually the line segment between AB, whose length is 4. So this is 4 here, and 4 here, and 4 here, and 4 here. And then if we add these lengths up, we get the perimeter. Could we make it work, the perimeter formula, with S? Well, what would be, if this length is S, and then plus S, that would be 2 times S, and then 3 times S, and then 4 times S. So the perimeter would be 4 times S. So let's make a number that multiplies 4 times the value of S. So we'll call it pair for perimeter. We don't want that there, and so we just hit equals, and we say 4 star S, and hit enter. And it should multiply 4 times whatever value of S is, and we get this sum here. So let's see that perimeter works. If these were all 3, this should be 12. So let's click on our move tool and change this to 3, and it's 12. What if the side was 2? We'd have 2, 4, 6, 8. There it is, 8. What if the side was 0? 0, 0, 0, 0, and we have no perimeter. And of course, if we go out to 5, we will get 20. 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. Now, can we make a formula for the area? We know that this value here is always the area because the polygon is a shape, and the value of a shape in GeoGebra is its area. So let's move this back down to a smaller number. And what would we use for a formula? We know that the formula for the area of a square is S times S. So let's write area down here equals S times S, and hit enter. And notice that this value and this value are the same. Let's move our slider and check that they always stay the same. Here's where we have 2.5 times 2.5, and they're the same, 6.25. Here we'll go down to 1 to 1, and what should be the area? 1 times 1 is 1. So we've made formulas that depend on S. Now notice that when we run our mouse over it, it says for blank S. That's actually a little multiplication sign. It's just a very, very small dot. That's what I think of it as, a very, very small dot. Here's S blank S, but they really mean times. It's an old standard from mathematics. If we make S equal to 5, then the area should be 25, and the perimeter should be 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 20. 4 times 5, 20. So let's see. There it is. The perimeter is 20, and the area is 25. Okay, now we could have some fun with this by animating it. That's what we're going to do next. So now let's animate S. That's an easy thing to do. We go up to the slider line and we right click, and down here where it says animation on, we click. And there it goes. See, it's making the slider work by itself. It goes all the way up to 5, and then it starts to get smaller again. Down here is our pause button. Let's just make it go all the way down to 0, just for fun. Getting smaller and smaller, shrinking to nothing, and then it gets bigger. And then we can pause it anytime we want to, and we can also go back to manually working it. So that's kind of fun to see the animation. Now, it was a little bit jerky. Let's see it again. A little jerky. Right. Do you know why that is? That's because of the increment. in the slider. So let's look at the increment in the slider. Put it down to, like, say 3 here. And now we'll right click on the slider, go down to Properties, and then click on the Slider tab here. And remember, when we did it, it was 0 to 5, and automatically it was 1/10. So at 0.1, it went 0, and then 0.1, and then 0.2, and 0.3. So it kept increasing by 1/10. Now if we go in here and we write 1, each increment will be 1. So it'll go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see how that works. Close. Let's press Animate here, the play button. Whoop, it will go. It just jerks very slowly. Jerk. It's going very slowly because it spends the exact amount of the same amount of time going from one end of the slider to the other. Okay, so let's pause it. Well, this would be like if we were building squares with blocks that we couldn't break up, so they could only be whole blocks. So we would be just looking at no block square, a 1 block square, a 2 block square, and that kind of thing. But if we wanted to make the animation really smooth, we can right click again on the animation, go down to Properties, the Slider tab, and now let's make it, it was 1/10 when we started, let's make it 1/100th. So we need 0.01. That makes the increment 1/100th. Let's see how that looks when it goes. So press the play button. Oh, now it's nice and smooth. So notice that the slider is always a line. It's just that how it goes along the slider is our choice. But all of those values are in there. It's just that sometimes we don't want to look at all the values. We only want to look at whole number values for S. Or we only want to look at 1/10 or 1/100th or maybe even 1/1,000,000th if we had time to watch it go up a little bit at a time. So all of the values are in there. It's just that sometimes we don't want to look at all the values. So let's look at this go nice and smoothly down. Ooh, shrinking, shrinking, shrinking. And then it will come back up again after it gets all the way down to 0. Notice that the perimeter and the area are changing all the time. So let's pause it and go up to, let's say, 2. By hand. And we see the area is 4 and the perimeter is 8. Just like it should. In this mathcast, we constructed a square with a variable slider. I'm Linda Fahlberg-Stojanovska, and this mathcast was produced with Camtasia Studio.